It is 1:38 here on 77 WABC. You're listening to Curtis and Cosby. Well, the Stormy Daniels saga continues to be stormy. Of course, she is the porn star who says she had sex with the president, did that big 60 Minutes interview. And now Seth Rogen, actor and director, came out in defense of Stormy Daniels, saying that she was in a movie that he directed years ago, appropriately called Knocked Up. And he said he remembers some of this stuff that she is coming forward with now.
I've known Stormy Daniels a long time, and I'll be honest, she may have mentioned some of this stuff around 10 years ago. At the time, when you ask a porn star who they've been sleeping with and the answer was Donald Trump, it was like the least surprising thing that she could have said. And so, yeah, she had mentioned it, actually.
Wow.
So she did mention it.
So Stormy Daniels was talking then, talking now. But Trump's attorneys, and I should say Michael Cohen's attorneys, are trying to change that. And in fact, just to give everybody a latest up to speed, Stormy Daniels, of course, has sued Michael Cohen. This is Trump's personal attorney. She wants to get out of the non-disclosure agreement that she signed in exchange for the $130,000, saying that it's null and void because President Trump didn't sign it, that it's not really a fair agreement. And now there's been some more legal maneuvering. In the last 24 hours, there's been a filing in Los Angeles, and now one of Cohen's attorneys is going back and saying that that agreement, any agreement, and any dispute should be done in private. It should be settled in arbitration as opposed to open court. And joining us exclusively to talk about this big legal development is David Schwartz, one of Michael Cohen's attorneys. David, great to have you back here on the show.
Hi, Rita. Hi, Curtis. How you doing?
We're doing great. Tell us about this filing that you guys just did in the last 24 hours.
Right. So the contract has a airtight arbitration clause, and under the Federal Arbitration Association, they're given incredible weight, these arbitration clauses. The contract itself, even if there are technical problems with the contract, and I don't think for a minute that there are, the arbitration clause is looked at, in a vacuum. It's looked at separately.
Wait, David, I'm sorry, because it broke up. Did you say there are technical problems with the agreement, or there aren't?
No, I don't believe there are.
Okay.
He's arguing that there are technical problems. I'm sorry, I'm in a cab.
No. That's why I wanted to make sure I couldn't hear it correctly. Yeah. So I just want to make sure. Okay, for our listeners, no problem.
But there are no tech. This is an airtight agreement. But the bottom line is, the arbitration clause is looked at separately. She signed this agreement. She received the money. And any problems with the agreement, if there are any, need to be taken up in private arbitration according to the arbitration clause. That's why we have arbitration clauses. So, the papers were filed yesterday. Brent Blakely, who's California counsel on this case, filed the papers. They're excellent. The case law is on our side. So, I've never been arguing all along the substance of this matter. Okay, I've been trying to argue a contracts case from the very beginning.
Now, David, let me ask you, and everybody, we're talking to David Schwartz, one of the attorneys for Michael Cohen. The obvious sort of question, David, is because now she's done the 60 Minutes interview, which got, huge ratings, and everybody was glued in to see her. By the way, I want to ask, I have to ask you if they've invited you on, because I hope they have, you or Michael Cohen.
Yes, they have invited Michael Cohen, for sure, and Michael Cohen right now is relying on the court system to decide this case. He's not trying the case in the public. I don't understand, what this guy is doing every 5 seconds trying the case in public. It just doesn't make any sense. And, I was out there for a couple of weeks defending Michael Cohen because that was my job to do that, to set the record straight. But at this point, I don't want to fuel his fire, and that's why I'm doing your show. But I am not going on cable anytime soon because I don't want to fuel his fire. He's all about the PR. He's all about it, and really, he needs me at this point to do it.
All right, but
so, I'm not going to give into it.
But David, it would seem to me that the reason that you want to go back into private arbitration and really put the screws to Stormy Daniels is to get her to suffer such fiscal pain that it would shut anybody else out there, shut them up, who might have somewhat similar concerns about their relationships with Donald Trump in the past. Because other than that, it makes no sense. She said what she said on 60 Minutes. People either believed her or they didn't. Right. Life has gone on, and yet you guys keep drilling her.
No. Life has gone on. He's the one, Avenatti's the one that brought the case into court in the first place. There's a damages clause here of $1 million per violation. There are numerous violations, and even the threat of a violation of that clause is $1 million. So certainly, EC LLC, the defendant in the case, that was the LLC created by Michael Cohen, is certainly entitled to damages here, and they're going to enforce that contract for sure.
All right, but David, when you talk to average people, including people who are very supportive of Donald Trump as president, they said that was 10 years ago. Yeah, he stooped her. She said it was only once. Leave it alone. All of you guys need to move on.
Look, I agree with you. I would like to move on. The case is in court right now. It needs to be thrown out of court and go into private arbitration. This Avenatti's the one that's trying to make a spectacle of the whole thing. His end game, he wants to try to depose the president and Michael Cohen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to get there. All right, this case is going. It's an airtight arbitration clause, and let's see what happens. We want the courts to decide it. That's why I've chosen not to go back, because I don't want to feed the fire. Believe me, CNN wants me to debate this guy again. They thought it was terrific. The ratings were great, but the bottom line is it's not about ratings. It's about doing the right thing, and the right thing right now is this is a silly case. You don't think we have more important things to deal with right now than a porn star who thinks she had sex with the president over 10 years ago?
No, you said thinks. I think everybody accepts the fact they had sex. There's nobody out there who believes that Donald Trump didn't stoop Stormy Daniels.
And believe me, I'm not even commenting on that. For me, it doesn't make a difference. I think to most people it doesn't make a difference. I am just talking about a contract right now, a contract that was broken, that she entered into, and their defense is unconscionability, and it's ridiculous. She was represented by counsel. She agreed to it. In fact, even on 60 Minutes, she said it was a strict contract. She commented on the contract.
All right, but David, can you explain? Can you explain? Most people have never been in an arbitration hearing. They may have been in family court, or divorce court, or civil court, or a criminal court. How is it the same as court? How is it different? Are both sides represented equally?
Yeah, well, both sides are represented, but it's an informal process. An arbitrator is picked. Right now, there's an arbitrator. They're mostly former judges, and they hear cases, and it's an expedited discovery. Sometimes there's no discovery at all, depending on the rules of the arbitrator. Here, it's not necessary that there's discovery because the contract speaks for itself. So either it's a valid contract or it's not a valid contract. I can't see in a million years how this is going to be ruled an invalid contract.
Let me ask you, David and everybody, we're talking to David Schwartz, one of the attorneys for Michael Cohen, President Trump's personal attorney, all the stuff with Stormy Daniels. David, after the interview, and we all talked with you, Curtis and I, after the interview with Stormy Daniels aired, have you had a chance, or has Michael had a chance to talk to the president now, getting his reaction after?
Yeah, I can't comment on that, on any conversations that Michael had with the president. I just can't comment on it.
And does he maintain that does he still maintain that nothing happened?
Well, I think that's been his public stance. So, but I'm certainly not going to comment on any conversations that may or may not have taken place.
And do you know, have any other women come forward? Do you know, like either recruiting at Avenatti or somebody else since Stormy Daniels has come out?
I don't know of any. I mean, we hear Avenatti, blowing his mouth every 5 seconds. And by the way, if you read our papers carefully, he's the one that has caused his client to be in violation on many of the counts. He's the one that's every time he opens his mouth, it's another $1 million.
Do you think you'll ever see that money, David? Do you guys think you'll ever see that money?
I do, because she claims that she's making a lot of money right now, and there's a disgorgement provision in the agreement. So even if we get a judgment for millions of dollars and they don't collect right away, you have 20 years in which to collect. So let's see what kind of money she makes off this. She's talking about book deals. But Michael Cohen's not going to rest. I don't care if it's 5 years from now. Believe me, Avenatti will be long gone. 5, 10 years from now, he's going to collect the money.
What about Avenatti also was talking about, and he teased this, so many things like, oh, we've got, remember the picture of it was like the DVD or the CD, we have this, we have that, and then 60 Minutes happened and it wasn't there. Has he said anything to you privately like, hey, look, we've got some other ammunition?
I'm sorry, you cut out, Rita. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was asking about the big reveal. Remember, Avenatti had the big tweet where he put out and said, listen, we've got the pictures, basically. We've got some proof. And then when it came to 60 Minutes, there wasn't anything there. Has he told you privately?
Rita, the whole thing, this is a game. This guy is a master performer. He's playing games with everybody. It's unbelievable. Yeah, he shows you a picture of a CD in a safe. He says he's got, believe me, whatever he had came out on 60 Minutes, and I think everyone, even the Trump haters, were completely underwhelmed. The Trump haters are really upset because they have other things they want to talk about right now, and meanwhile, Avenatti is taking up all the news on some relationship that took place 12 years ago.
Are you convinced, David, that there's nothing else there, that he doesn't have something else?
Nothing. There's nothing there. So he's playing games. This guy is playing games. I have no idea why, and he's going to lose in court. This provision is terrific. So he's going to lose in court, and we'll see but he'll claim victory. Even when he loses, he'll claim victory.
So now, you cannot declare declaratively that there are no other women that are queuing up in line that are looking to tell their stories about their time in the sack with the president.
I have no idea, Curtis. Your guess is as good as mine, but I'm sure we've seen cases where people just love to pile on, so wouldn't surprise me either way, but I know of none.
All right. Well, do appreciate that. It's Attorney David Schwartz.
David,
He's
thank you.
representing Michael Cohen, who represents the President of the United States, Donald Trump, in many personal issues, but also the Stormy Daniels case. And it's war in court, federal court, and in arbitration court.
So, everybody, what do you think? Where do you see this headed? And do you think it'll be able to stay in arbitration? Do you think we're going to hear a lot more ahead? What do you think, everybody?
And let me find out if there is anyone out there who actually believes that citizen Donald Trump did not stoop Stormy Daniels, because remember, she said it was only one time and one time only.
Which was the other thing, too. Remember, it was